Bananas are one of the most familiar and popular fruits in the world. Bananas are available almost all year round, favored by many families because of their sweet, soft, and nutritious taste. Not only is it a simple dessert, bananas also contain many essential vitamins and minerals, such as potassium, vitamin C, vitamin B6, and fiber. Bananas help replenish energy quickly, aid digestion, are good for the heart, and are also a healthy snack for all ages. However, there is a problem that we have all encountered. Bananas ripen very quickly and turn black easily, especially at the stem. If you don't know how to preserve them, after just a few days of purchase, the bunch of bananas can become soft, less delicious, and lose its inherent appeal. In my refrigerator today, I have a bag of bananas. When you take it out and open the bag, you can clearly see the stems of the bananas have started to turn black, no longer looking as fresh as when you first bought them. This is a common situation that makes many people wonder how to preserve bananas longer. Therefore, in this video, I will share with you 4 extremely effective and easy-to-do tips for preserving bananas. These tips not only help bananas stay fresh longer, but also limit the situation of turning black and spoiling quickly. If you often buy bananas to eat gradually, these methods will definitely be very useful. The first tip I want to share is to preserve bananas with olive oil. A very simple way, but with quite surprising results. First, I prepare a small bowl and put a little olive oil inside. This will be the main ingredient to help limit the condition of the banana stem turning black. Next, I take a piece of tissue paper and place it on the bottom of the banana stem to support it. Then, I use a spoon to scoop out small spoonfuls of olive oil and apply it evenly on the banana stem. The olive oil will create a thin layer, preventing air and bacteria from directly affecting the stem. Once applied, I use the same tissue paper that I just placed to wrap it around the banana stem. To be more sure, I continue to add a little more olive oil on the outside of the tissue paper, helping to cover the banana stem thoroughly. Finally, I use plastic wrap to wrap the entire stem tightly. Once completed, the banana bunch is sealed and can be stored. This way, the banana stem will be slower to turn black, helping the banana to stay fresh longer than usual. The second tip to keep bananas fresh for a long time is to use candle wax. This is a simple and economical method that can be applied right at home. First, I have a bunch of bananas whose stem has turned black due to being left out for a long time. If I leave it like that, the stem will continue to spread and cause the whole bunch of bananas to spoil faster. To fix this, I use a knife to carefully cut off the blackened stem. Then, I take a piece of paper towel and place it under the banana stem so that when the candle wax melts down, it will not stain the plate or table. Next, I take a candle, use a lighter to light it, and wait for the candle wax to melt. When the wax starts to melt, I drop it directly onto the banana stem. This layer of wax will cover the surface, like a natural seal, preventing air and moisture from penetrating the stem. Once one side is covered, I turn the bunch of bananas upside down to continue dripping candle wax onto the other side of the stem, making sure both sides are covered evenly. Once completed, the banana stem is completely covered with candle wax, helping the bunch of bananas stay fresh longer and minimizing the spread of blackening. The next tip I want to share with you is to preserve bananas with paper towels, an extremely simple but surprisingly effective way. First, I prepare a plate of ripe bananas. Then, I spread a clean paper towel on the table and place each banana on top. Next, I gently roll the bananas up so that the bananas lie neatly inside the paper towel. I continue to do this in turn until all the bananas are wrapped. The paper towel will help absorb moisture and create a thin protective layer to limit the bananas from being directly exposed to air, thereby slowing down the browning of the bananas. After wrapping, I put the bananas wrapped in paper towels in the refrigerator to preserve them. With this method, the bananas will stay fresh longer, the stems will be less brown, and the peel will also be less likely to turn black. The last tip I want to share with you is to store bananas in an airtight container. This is a way to minimize exposure to air, thereby slowing down the process of browning of bananas. At first, I had a plate of bananas that looked like they were no longer as fresh as before. The banana peels began to show dark spots, a problem that many of you probably often encounter. To fix this, I put all the bananas in a small basin. Then, I sprinkled about a teaspoon of baking soda into the basin. This is a simple but very useful ingredient for cleaning and deodorizing. Next, I poured water over the bananas, then carefully washed each one with my hands. Once I finished washing, I used a paper towel to dry each banana, making sure the surface was no longer damp. Then, I wrapped each banana tightly with plastic wrap. This helps keep the bananas separate and prevents the browning from spreading from one fruit to another. Finally, I put all the bananas that were wrapped tightly into a plastic box with a tight lid. Then put it in the refrigerator to preserve. With this method, the bananas will stay fresh longer, less likely to turn black, and can be used gradually over many days. So today I have shared with you 4 simple but effective tips to preserve bananas. From using olive oil, candle wax, paper towels, to storing them in airtight containers, all of which can be done right at home with familiar items. Thanks to these methods, bananas will stay fresh longer, limit blackening, and always be ready for you to enjoy every day. Hopefully, the little tips I shared today will be useful for you. If you find the video interesting, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so I have more motivation to share more great tips. Thank you for watching. See you in the next videos.